Hey y'all, this is Will Brown with Adapt Performance Consulting and PPD Baseball. I'm here with Figured Out Baseball today, and I want to talk about attention. We're going to discuss different ways to have our attention at the right place at the right time. So we know there is a lot of different things vying and pulling at our attention at any given time throughout the day. There's a reason it's said that attention is the currency of performance, because as your attention goes, pretty much so does your performance. So a lot of our problems with attention occurs when our attention is no longer on the task at hand, and instead we are now having that like self-focused attention. With that self-focused attention, we tend to be distracted by things both in our external environment and internally. So externally, we could be distracted by different sounds around the stadium, for example. Maybe that's umpires, people in the stands, or maybe just different weather elements, whatever the case may be. Internally, so inside, we could be distracted by our own thoughts and emotions, right? You could be thinking about past performances where you didn't perform up to the standards, and also overanalyzing what you did wrong. That can lead to you looking ahead to the future and possibly looking at those future consequences. So if you continue not to perform like you think you should be, you worried about that, right? I remember doing this quite often. So thinking about that 0-for-3 game before the day before and replaying in my head, not taking any productive action, and then thinking about, man, I can't have another day like this, or I might not play the rest of the series. And if I keep this up, I'm gonna mess around and like lose my starting job, right? All this time, I was either focusing on the past or looking ahead to the future, and my attention wasn't where it needed to be, which was literally focused on the actual task at hand, whether that is being at the plate or and just seeing the ball on the mound about to throw a pitch. Your attention should be anchored at the task at hand. And then when you have that task-focused attention, you are anchored in the present moment, and that's going to allow you to execute more automatically, right? So in order to be more present, there are a couple skills you can utilize right now. And then the first skill I'm going to talk about involves an acronym of WIN, right? So WIN stands for what is important now. So in terms of performance, asking yourself and recognizing what is the most important thing for me to focus on in this very moment to help me be successful. This will help you cut through the distractions and put your attention to what matters most in the present moment. Also, instead of focusing on that, that last 0-3 day I had and worry about the consequence of that in the on-deck circle, my focus can be on the timing of the pitching, right? And then I might shift my attention to my timing. So when walking up the plate, I could be focusing on and finalizing my approach, and then focus on my breath after that. So once I'm stepping into the box, at that point, I'm totally trusting my training and simply focus on seeing the ball. That's it. Okay, so that's when what's important now. Another skill you can utilize is using something called cue words. You probably heard coaches using cue words at some point through your life. So it kind of sounds like something like eye on the ball, work through the ball, or like telling somebody to stay back. Cue words are specific words or phrases that provide those instructions on how to perform or like how you want to feel. So when you realize your attention might not be where you want it, then you use cue words to refocus that attention. I used to have a big problem with pulling the ball too much and then like flying open. And as a result, I started worrying about pulling off. So to counter this, I would just start repeating the cue words in my head, middle, middle, middle. So this was just to remind like my body and mind what I needed to do in that moment. And that simple cue word helped me remember what I wanted to accomplish and kept my mind from wandering as well. So cue words can also be motivational in nature too. So for example, if you're walking up to the box after a couple of strikeouts and you might start worrying about future consequences of not getting a hit, you can repeat, slow down, this is your box, right? So play around with that and figure out what cue words work best for you in terms of like how you want to act and like how you feel, okay? So this is Will Brown with Adapt Performance Consulting and PPD Baseball. And today we talked about attention and make sure you're to check out my next video on routines. All right, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Figured Out Baseball. If you're watching on the figuredoutbaseball.com website, I hope you check out the Figured Out Baseball store and grab yourself some gear to help support this totally free resource. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you keep up with all the cool stuff that we do. For you podcast listeners, we've also got our podcast now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Figure It Out Baseball, the home of hundreds of free videos from dozens of college and professional coaches and specialists from great schools like this. So tell your friends about figuredoutbaseball.com, the world's #1 online coaching tool.